Can't wait to defeat these wannabe beauty dolls and win the contest. Miss T and Doll.
Low light. So the first setting here, low light activation, that happens either when it's dark or dim in the room. So you want it to go into this mode, whether it's really dark or not in your mode, or in your room. Now, when it gets to that low light setting, what do you want to have happen? Do you want it to just turn off the screen entirely, or would you like it to show the clock? I happen to like the clock, so I leave that on. Now, what's the minimum brightness of the screen? So when you put it into that show clock mode, do you want it to go all the way to dark, dim, bright, or brighter? Do you like things a little bit lighter in the room? Definitely for kids, that's a great option. Now, screen timeout, I like to turn that on after 5 minutes of inactivity. It will actually turn off the display. I'm not going to do that during this video, but that is very useful as well. Now, the theme, you can just choose to have it in dark mode all the time or light mode, whatever you'd like. Those two modes, you know what, I like to just leave it in auto, and then in the evenings it kind of goes to that dark mode. Ambient EQ is really useful, and it's really great without an adjustment. I don't find a need to do that, but maybe you want this display to be a little bit darker than the rest of the light in your room. Just kind of move that to the left, and it will adjust itself a little bit darker than the room's ambient lighting. Now, again, for this video, I'm not going to make an adjustment, but I like to put it a little dimmer, keeps it a little more out of the way. The color matching aspect, you know what, I just leave that on always. I find the feature really, really useful. I think you will too. If you're not liking what it's doing, adjusting to kind of the colors in your room or in your space, the color of the lighting, go ahead and change that, kind of adjust it down. Audio is one of the most important aspects of your Google Nest Smart Display. One of the things that many people like are the ability to have a start and an end sound when you say could hear that little start sound, and then there was an end sound at the end. This lets you know that the voice assistant heard you. I like to turn that on all the time. You can also turn on audio descriptions and screen readers. They're going to work with certain aspects of the display, not all, so you got to test those out for yourself. Now, again, a default music speaker. This is where you can set any of the other speakers around this, because this isn't the most powerful device. So if you have a group of speakers or a pair of speakers, you can set that in here, and that becomes the default music speaker. When you say play music or play Foo Fighters, it will just play on that speaker. What you're also seeing inside here is the ability to pair a Bluetooth speaker. So this is where you can start, and it will actually scan for devices. I'm going to flip this here, and it's going to scan for other Bluetooth speakers in order to pair with. And if you do that, and then you select that speaker as your base one or as your default one, then you can play to that Bluetooth speaker all the time, as long as they stay paired. Again, we have the equalizer, and then there is the alarms and timers. Now, when you set an alarm that is regular and occurring, you actually see the little bit of interface here. It's not a full management panel as I make this video yet, but you can see that you can adjust the alarm and timer volume in the app as well as on the device. So you have both of those options.
Stay out of my house,
separating that alarm and timer volume from the standard volume. Adding a device to groups, you know what this does is this lets you create a much better sound experience in your home, and everything kind of synchronizes. So, you know what, I'm going to add this to the main bed group. I've already created that, and if I'd like, I can create a device group here down at the very bottom of this interface. So you can add it to other groups, you can add it to multiple at the same time and hit save, or you can create a new device group and add a bunch of speakers to that first group. So if I hit create, I have to name it, and then I choose the different speakers that are in that group. You can also edit groups, which I'll show you in a little bit, but I'm just going to add it to the main bed group, and then whenever I ask to play on main bed group, or if I set that group as the default speaker, it will play on all of those speakers. Group delay correction is a really hard thing to explain, but when you try to play music on a group of speakers, one of them might be a little more delayed than the other, and so Google's giving you this ability to adjust the delay. So this is delaying, as I move to the right, it's delaying by 7 milliseconds the response, or the audio response, or the audio sound coming out of this speaker. So every time I adjust that up or down, I'm changing the synchronization of my group. So what you're going to have to decide is, if you're hearing, you know, anywhere in your room that you're normally listening to speakers, if you're hearing a bit of an echo, this is where you come and you do it per speaker. So you try to get that one synchronized with another one that you like, and then you kind of go to the third speaker or the fourth speaker, and you go through this process to get them all synchronized, and it sounds great once you get it working. Paired Bluetooth devices. Now this is where you can pair your phone. So I'm going to enable the pairing mode on this display, and now on my tablet or my smartphone, I can go into my Bluetooth settings and I can pair a new device. So what this allows me to do is choose the bedroom display, and now we're pairing the two devices together. The nice thing about this, once I've done this pairing process, is I can always say, hey, pair, enable Bluetooth. There, it just did it. Now if I play music, content,
start digging holes to hide the eggs in, and don't stop till I say so.
What happens when you enable pairing?
I need to make a map so that I can get to all the eggs first.
Look for the very top.
Everything
device,
should be done.
The last device that was paired with
what on
Nest
earth?
Hub. So if you go and you get a tablet, it'll sit above my Pixel 4 XL when I do that initial pairing process, and I've put them together and they're working together. So it will always go to that last one that you try to pair with. There's no way to make that adjust. So what you have to do is then manually inside of a device like this, go into the Bluetooth and try to pair directly, turn off that old tablet or something that you were using before. So it's a bit of a management process when you want to switch between Bluetooth devices, but in general now I can just enable and start playing music from my device. One really important aspect of the voice assistant is that this device can lower the volume when it's listening. So you just got to get that initial wake word out there and get it to hear you, and then it kind of lowers the volume when it's playing music or other content, and that gives you the ability for this device to actually hear you. The other thing that gives you the ability for this device to hear you is the sensitivity. So if you're finding it's not listening to you, you want to head a little bit more sensitive, and if you're finding that it's hearing you too often or you're having spurious wake-ups that you didn't mean, well, you can make it less sensitive, and this allows you to adjust it per device. So there's an adjust more devices down here, and I'll show you later where there's a whole list of them that you can adjust. Now, for now, again, I'm going to leave it at the default. I find this device hears me really well in almost all situations, and that lower volume in conjunction, those two settings, make this pretty good. The voice and video call segment, because we already set that up, I can just unlink Duo from this device. That's all I need to do, or that's all I can do from this segment. The other aspect here is the remove device button. I don't find that all that useful. I just factory reset when I want to pull something out of the Google Home application. You can decide to use that if you want, but again, I don't get it. I'm going to take you around the Google Home application, and I hate this part because I have to blur out a lot of things in editing, but I also like this part because it's going to teach you just generally how to navigate through the application. Now, the one thing I'll tell you is you need the Google Home app, but it often helps to have the Google Assistant app, and I'm finding that it has become an important part of my Android phone. Can also help you with shortcuts and Siri on Apple iPhones and iPads. So go ahead and get both of those apps and log into the same account. At the very top left, you will find the add button. So there was a plus there, and really I can set up devices. This is where I can invite home members, create new speaker groups if I'd like really quickly, and even create new homes. And sometimes homes help you to kind of manage the organization of your overall application experience. You can also add in music, video, radio, podcasts, which we haven't even talked about yet in the video really, and you can add in Nest Aware and then check on rebates and pro services. So if you're someone who has a Nest thermostat or you want to get one, sometimes you need a pro there, and they can connect you with HVAC specialists if you're having problems, or your Nest board if you like in that way, or you can just use that broadcast button to broadcast to everything. The next spot is the thermostat control, so I can go into that and I can adjust my thermostat if I'd like. I can also go and see my camera very quickly. Now you can see I have those turned off because when I come home, my presence sensing deals with that for me. Now I have a Wi-Fi button, and that's because I have Nest Wi-Fi. You may not have that aspect of this application. That's okay. The next segment is routines. Now routines are all of your different routines. You're going to see I have just a few, but here's my home and away. These are the presence sensing ones. We can go into those and we can make adjustments. There's a whole segment in the video on routines coming. So stay tuned, or maybe jump ahead if you want to get into that. Now, the next segment is this settings panel. And what happens here in the Google Home app is you have a bunch of different settings. So in here, these are called your home settings, and I would say that in general, they're helping you manage the whole home aspect of your life. Up in the top right, you have the manage your Google account settings, and that is for things like privacy and other aspects related to your specific account. You can also tap that down arrow, and any Google accounts that you have logged into show up here, and you can switch between them, and then they'll have access to the homes that you've allowed them to. So this is a quick and easy way for you to add in maybe your spouse's account into here and make sure that what they'll see on their phone looks right to you. So that's just one way to maybe manage things. Now, in here is also the home app settings. So these are basic settings for the home application. I would tell you that email notifications is very important. These are just tips and tricks, and you can see that preview program that we've turned on will get emails for as well. Now, what you can do is clear the saved Wi-Fi network if you're finding that being a problem during setup of device. Clear that out so you have opportunity to put in your password again. You can also clear the app location. So this is the location that you've set for home and your within your devices. So that allows you to kind of change everything.
I will make sure
Hardware
you'll never bother
connections, this
me
is a
again.
building segment, and what you're going to find in most cases is that if you've connected your Nest devices, there are things that show up here. So Samsung SmartThings for me.
I won't let these kids play with snow today. Ugh, you! Now you know how to play with snow!
I will make sure you'll never bother me again. I will punish you, you little rascals. Who dares disturb me at this time?